So, Peter, give me your first thoughts when you heard the news of the passing of former MP Kim Rudd.
Well, I'd like to first of all say I'd like to give my condolences to Tom and the family. I know they're a very close-knit family, and losing Kim as a wife and as a mother is quite a tragedy for them and for the family. She's such a vibrant person. And when I heard the news, I knew she was quite ill. I knew she was at Ed's house, but it just seemed, a really positive part of what Cobourg and Northumberland was all about suddenly slipped into history. And it's unfortunate. She did so many good things for Cobourg and for Northumberland during her time here, the time she was living here. And there were big things that she did that had a big impact, and there are small little things that I imagine a lot of people don't even know about, but she was constantly contributing to the community. And so it's a big loss for the community, it's a big loss for Northumberland. And she was a good friend. Tom's a good friend, and so there's a really personal feeling of loss there.
Peter, where did you first get to meet Kim and get to know her and interact with her?
Well, I came during when I really got to know Kim well was during the time I was in office, and it was through things that were kind of indirect, but did have an impact in Cobourg. During her time as president, for instance, of the Chamber of Commerce, she realized that in order for the chamber to be effective, more effective than it was, she had to make some changes, and so she suggested to the chamber, and they accepted it, that it had to expand its role and include not only Cobourg, but the surrounding townships, and to concentrate on promoting agribusiness. This was something that no one else had even thought of. And she said, no, this will make the Cobourg Chamber of Commerce a more vibrant chamber. And as mayor, I really supported that concept. I thought it was great. And it just gave the chamber more of a life. She was involved with the physician recruitment committee, and she was sort of the leader there, and really pushed for being progressive and advancing the cause of trying to get medical people to, and particularly doctors, to sign up to come to Cobourg. So in those ways, I had a contact with her. And so it was indirect, but it did have an impact, a positive impact on the town of Cobourg. Another way that Kim and I certainly we agreed on 100% was in her role as president of the college that she owned and operated. During my term as a mayor, I had a difficult time, quite frankly, with the Sir Sanford Fleming College. Anytime we had a good course or a course that was kind of exciting and served the needs of our young people in our community, Sir Sanford seemed to pull it away. And in fact, to be frank, they seemed to have very little interest in the lakeshore. And that always was perplexing to me and frankly annoying. Kim stepped into this void and offered the kind of courses that Sir Sanford was pulling away back to Peterborough. And a good example was the policing course. It had been very successful under Sir Sanford, and abruptly Sir Sanford withdrew that, and everyone had to come back up, go to Peterborough. She said, no, we're going to offer that in Cobourg, and we'll offer it as a quality course. And it was a quality course. She had expert teachers, and she had full houses of students wanting to take that course. That's just one example of the way she said, there's a void here. How can I fill it? And how can I serve my community better by offering courses that will reach out to young people so they don't have to travel to Peterborough. They don't have to have the expenditure of trying to get housing in Peterborough, and they can get a top quality education just by staying in Cobourg. And she really emphasized it, that whole process, and said, we're very proud of our students. She, when she had graduations, she had that at Victoria Hall in the Grand Hall upstairs. And it was with caps and gowns and the whole works for graduation. And she made it a special occasion for those young people as they went out in life. And it was and were able to get good quality jobs because of the education they received there. So those were two ways in which we connected, and I really appreciated the support she gave us during those times.
Peter, were you surprised when she took the next step after being such a wonderful entrepreneur to throw her hat in the political ring?
Well, absolutely not. She was a go-getter. She loved the challenge, and I think she loved the challenge, and she thought in terms of how can I make Cobourg better. And I think she had a very progressive mindset. And I think when she said she was going to run for the Liberal Party, at that moment, it was the party in power, which was the Conservative Party under Stephen Harper, was center right, and that didn't appeal to her at all. She wanted to be a part of a progressive movement, and so she put her mind set on it, and said she's going to run, and I'm going to win, and she did do many kind of interesting things to make sure she kept her image in front of the public. I remember one Canada Day parade, and along came this float, and there was Kim and Tom and imagine some of her kids, but there they were in red and white, the Liberal colors, and it wasn't even an election year, but just saying, folks, remember, I'm your candidate for the Liberal Party, and I'm running, and I want you to be aware of it on this Canada Day when we should be all proud to be Canadians. I thought it was a clever move, and I thought it sort of spoke volumes about Kim being a creative kind of individual with a lot of progressive ideas. You know, if I could, do you mind, Mark, another area that, like, she did a lot of big things for the community, a lot of positive things, but she did a lot of small things too that people never heard about, but they were really important. For instance, Tom and Kim, when the Cobourg Cougars were playing, and they would have imports coming in, and these young men were 17, sometimes 16, 18 years of age. She billeted them, a couple of them at her home each year. And for those young people, those young athletes, it gave them some stability. It got them a warm and welcoming kind of environment. And I think it made their experience playing for the Cobourg Cougars an excellent experience. And as some of them went on to get scholarships at university and that, I think the foundation was laid not only by the team and its coaches and so forth, but because there was a stable and caring background. That's a small matter, and I don't think a lot of people know that. But that was Kim. That was Kim, that was Tom, reaching out. How can we make this a better experience for these young people and for our community? So every time you sort of think of Kim, you think of those positive kind of ways in which she contributed to our community, made it a better place to live.
Peter, you remember her as a mayor, you remember her as a friend, you remember her as a fellow Rotarian. What will you personally remember and miss most about Kim?
I'll miss her vibrant kind of personality, in that she was outspoken, and you always knew where she stood, and you always knew that in her heart of hearts, she cared, first of all, very much about her family, and very much about her husband Tom, but just as important, maybe not just as important, but really important, was how can I make my community better? That's what I always appreciate about her. She's so positive about the Northumberland, about Cobourg, and what it had to offer, and what a great place to grow and live in. So I always got that impression that she was an ambassador for the community, a go-getter for the community, someone who wanted to make our community better. Like, even in Venture 13 was long after I was involved with the municipal affairs. I mean, a positive step for our young entrepreneurs to try to make life a little better and try to develop their own kind of industry. She was very supportive of that.
Peter, as we wrap this up, what do you think Kim's lasting legacy is going to be here in Northumberland County?
I think her lasting legacy is going to be the young people who are now adults who can look back on her now in a positive kind of way and say, she had a great deal to do with making me a better person, giving me an opportunity to better my life, to stabilize my life, and she did a lot to sort of make the town of Cobourg attractive to people, physicians perhaps, that would think of coming here, of a community that was bound together by the townships in Cobourg joining together under the Chamber of Commerce, and under her enthusiastic leadership, she was able to appeal and get young people, old people, myself, get enthusiastic about, well, we got a great community and let's make it better. I think those are the attributes that she had and she gave us, and it's a big void now that she's gone. We need someone as dynamic as her to step forward and say, I'll follow Kim's footsteps. And I hope that person's out in the community today.
Peter, thanks very much for sharing your thoughts and about Kim.
Okay, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for the opportunity.